Hi everyone, this is Rob Roy and welcome to the Option Axiom Weekly Market Update. Well, what an interesting week it was. For our subscribers in the Weekly Outlook, we mentioned that most of the economic reports were going to be geared towards the end of the week, and that's exactly what happened with a report that came out on Thursday's trade that showed the sharpest drop in new computer sales since they've been being tracked. Now, it's only been about 25 years since they've been following that number, but still the largest single month drop since, quarterly drop since that number has been being watched. So that's certainly not a positive in the world of technology, and technology is a big driver of the economy, as I'm sure you are all aware. Towards Friday, we also got some disappointing news from JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. Those financial companies reported weaker than expected earnings. The retail sales number was weak and the consumer sentiment number was weak. The only positive tidbit that you could have pulled out of the entire week's economic news was a surprising drop in new initial jobless claims. So with all the other economic news, you tell me if you believe that number or not. So with such a lousy week from economic reports, the market certainly had to have a horrible week, right? Nope, not how it works. In fact, if we take a look at the weekly chart, it was one of the best weeks that the markets have had, best week of this year by far, with the S&P, as you can see, trading up over 35 points on this week. So this goes to the point that I've been trying to make over and over and over again, that as you gain more education in the world of trading, as you further understand how the economy works, how money supply works, monetary policy, you follow economic reports from individual companies. In fact, there was a report that was released on CNBC towards the end of the week that CEOs, or let's just call it principals of companies, are selling stocks in record fashion. Never have so many insiders been selling. But the market's going up. Why? You know the drill. All the liquidity being pumped in. So everything's artificial, but that doesn't matter, does it? If the market's going up, that's all that matters. So we could list a super long list of reasons why the market should be going down, but if you are trading to the downside, you haven't been doing too well, have you? So you've got to listen to what the market's telling you. So with all that, let's try to figure out where the market's going to go next. Well, the one Fibonacci pattern that is not yet completely extended was this intermediate zigzag pattern here. It's the only one of those three zigzags that you've heard me mention over and over again that has not reached its 161.8% level. The longer term one that started back in October 2011 had, the shorter term one that started back in November has, but this one has not. So that gives us a potential target on the S&P of around 1680. At that point, then all three of those zigzags would have made it to at least a 161.8% extension. So from a technical standpoint, at this point in time, that looks like the target that we have to watch for. Again, doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. You have to follow what the market's doing. This week we did close a couple of our case studies. ILMN moved to the upside, and we closed that out. Took a nice gain as the call options were in the money. They were April call options. So from that case study, there was too much risk in case the market did go down with all that resistance that was going on from the fib levels. The market did break to the upside, but sometimes you have to just follow what's prudent in the overall picture. We also closed a nice case study on FIS that had a big up day. As you can see, we closed that one here when we had this nice up day, which was a perfect culmination of not necessarily a triangle pattern, which you know is our preferred breakout pattern, but a nice ascending triangle pattern. Had a 3-point wedge that equated to about a 2.5 point expected move. The middle part of the triangle was around 38.5. Add 2.5 points, that gives you a target of 41, and that's exactly where it went. So two nice closed case studies for the week. Also, interestingly enough, the breakout here was a classic zigzag pattern. You've seen that over and over again. You know that's my favorite directional pattern. So that broke and hit exactly on its 100% extension as well. So you had 100% extension on the zigzag pattern, and you had the perfect point movement from the breakout of the ascending triangle, equates to time to take your gains. There's a little over 50% gain in that case study for our subscribers. Couple things that I wanted to bring to your attention. We are now on Twitter. I've never been involved in anything from a social media standpoint. However, I think it's time that we get on Twitter. I want to be very specific about this. Not going to do anything other than general market commentary on Twitter. For those of you that are subscribers, you can go to the subscriber dashboard and you can follow along with our twits there. Is that what they are? Tweets, whatever. Or you can become a follower without just looking at our dashboard, and the feed is Option Axiom. That's the Twitter name, Option Axiom. That makes sense, doesn't it? The other thing that I wanted to ask you is, I had a subscriber that suggested this. Obviously, this subscriber was a golfer, and as you know, that my two primary careers in my life have been as a golf professional and as a trader. And there was a suggestion from one of our subscribers, why don't we have a get-together, some sort of a teaching summit where we spend one day working on technical analysis and trading ideas and another day on golf. And I could hold a golf clinic and then we go out and play golf. I thought it was a very interesting suggestion. I've certainly never seen anything like that. So I was curious if there were more of you that thought that that might be something you'd be interested in. If you could just send an email to support@optionaxiom.com and say, hey Rob, I think that's a great idea, or that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard of. Just be honest and let me know what you think of that. Again, a 2-day teaching summit, 1 day on trading, 1 day on golf. And not going to mean anything to you if you're not a golfer, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that play golf, and I'm sure you are, like me, enjoying the Masters this week, and we'll be spending this weekend enjoying the final 2 rounds of the Masters as well. So that wraps up our weekly update for this week, and we'll be back on Sunday for our subscribers to update you on our current case studies, and actually a couple of very interesting ones that we are looking at for next week as well. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.